It's made to look ridiculous. I did hear of one case where some people had put up a sign outside of the house and they weren't paying rates because they were going through the same process. And I think it was in Toowoomba. Yeah, it was on the Foreign Affair or something.
And do you think it's a good thing to get this information out? A good thing, the more people do it, the better, or is it?
I do now.
More people are aware of it.
Yeah, I do now at this particular time because of what's going on with America and the whole. We come into the Bilderberg, the Trilateral Commission, all of the New World Order. We basically whatever people kind of say New World Order and they go, oh, and it's all like George Orwell, right? But there is a New World Order.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's formed by all of these corporations and entities and basically all of the people who run the world. All this stuff filters down through the media. There's only 6 people who run all of the media in the whole world. There's only 6 people, and I've got a map of that somewhere on this computer amongst all the other stuff. But it lists all of the control of the radio stations and the
it's very evident, very obvious at the time.
Yeah, the newspapers and the print, and the media. So there's only 6 people that actually run that.
Filtered through those 6 people.
And we probably won't go into the D.L. Abraham stuff or the real New World Order stuff tonight, but that's another really big deep hole that we've been researching into. It's a very, very so at this point in time I can see that the New World Order's plan is generally population reduction by 80%. That's generally been the consensus of what they want to do. They want to reduce the whole population by 80% by whatever means. Okay, but when they come around to your house and knock on the door, they're going to be taking the Strawman away for sure because they can. They can declare a state of emergency, as they do in America. Over there, they have this scary thing called FEMA. FEMA will come knocking at your door and they'll take you away and put you on a truck and they'll lock you up in a FEMA facility, right? Because they can. Yeah, that's force. That's not law. That's force. Yeah. You're talking about private corporations assuming control over natural flesh and blood beings who have been misled into becoming entities and corporate souls unwittingly.
Without even realising it, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think was the sort of the major sort of? First of all, these common laws. I mean, when we saw the movie V.
V for Vendetta is an interesting one.
And the Old Bailey.
Yeah.
What's it? Are those laws actually held in a repository there? Is that the...
No, the Old Bailey in England, I think it's in London, was the place in the old days, in old England, where common law courts were held. Okay, and the Old Bailey is the standing remnant of old law, of the law of the land. And so the Old Bailey has become a symbol in England of where law came from, which I think also came from Rome, right? Because England was kind of founded by Rome. So in V for Vendetta. Now, when I first saw V, I was like, yeah, this is great. Burn down the governments, right? But when I did my research, I actually found out that V was supporting Guy Fawkes. Now, in England, they have Guy Fawkes every year, and they burn Guy Fawkes. And why do they burn him? Because he was a Roman. He was actually like a Roman traitor. No, not a Roman traitor, but he was a traitor of England. Okay, he was a traitor of the protesters, the Protestants. Protestant means to protest. Okay, so when you've got the Protestants and the Catholics fighting each other, what you've got is the Roman Catholic Church trying to take over England. Okay, and you've got the Protestants who are protesting against it. Now in V, he's supporting Guy Fawkes. Now Guy Fawkes was a Roman Catholic infiltrator into, he was going to blow up Parliament to unseat the Protestants and to reinstall Roman Catholic law. Okay, so what V is actually about is actually a disguise of bringing in this corporate control under the disguise of being against governments. But in fact, in the beginning of the film, he blows up the Old Bailey. Okay, and if you look at the words on the side of it, I can't recall them exactly, but it says something like, you know, upholding peace or common law on the side of the Old Bailey. He blows that up. On the top it's got the lady with the scales of justice, and he blows that up because he blows up, as he says, he's blowing up the symbol of what it stands for, and what that stands for is common law and the reintroduction of this this matrix, you know. And of course the V was written by the Wachowski brothers, who wrote the Matrix. I mean, these guys, you know, have this symbology right through all of their films. Yeah.
So these common laws, they obviously must still be in there, like the oldest law books.
Yeah.
They're just written in ye olde English or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there must be a way to get hold of the original,
Yeah.
you know, tablets that were written on. But yeah, the common law, the law of the land, would have been very different, you know. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to compare that to what we have now. I mean, when people don't realise how America got to be where it is and what it was doing and what this is all really about. But when America, those 13 states that split off from England, right, and wanted to be their own country, okay, with their own, and manufacture their own money, that's what England was fighting them over, really, was that they wanted to create their own money which wasn't backed by gold. And the people in England at the time said, you know, if you allow a country to do that, they'll take over the world, right? Because
they're just going to have
so they can just print their own money, right? It's all printed by the Federal Reserve.
Well, mainly that England wasn't going to get any tax money from the Americas.
Yeah, so it's all
that's
like
what they were going to miss out on. That's what they were defending.
Sure. From
England's point of view.
Yeah, and so you have the War of Independence. Okay, was it 1812, 17? When was the War of Independence?
1776.
1776. That's the date that's imprinted on the Statue of Liberty's tablet that she's holding. Okay. The Statue of Liberty, by the way, is actually the Masonic goddess Semiramis, and she's the goddess of war. So the Statue of Liberty has nothing to do with liberty. Okay. She's the goddess of war.
So they went from producing money with paper to money on computers, which is even more.
Yeah, well, even the money on paper wasn't backed by gold. So England was against that. France joined with America, obviously, against England. So you've got England fighting America, basically over this money creation thing. And it all goes back to Babylonian times, really. It goes back to the time of all the way back to the Jews and Babylon, you know, and the Temple of Solomon. This stuff goes all the way back, because Semiramis was a Babylonian, Amazonian, believe it or not, an Amazon queen. Okay, the triple goddess, the tri-star. You know? She's Columbia. She's, you know, when you see Columbia pictures, she's on there holding her torch. You know, Columbia tri-star. She's the triple goddess. She's the Masonic Babylonian queen at the time of Nebuchadnezzar. And what was the ship that they had in the Matrix? The Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, where were they going? They're going to Zion. Yeah.
Who did Saddam Hussein think was the reincarnation of?
You've got to trace all this stuff back to.
Yeah, this is all rather mythical and iconic.
It is. Yeah.
But this artificial system that you're outlining and that we're dealing with, if it doesn't exist, whether it's the Matrix or not, humans and society have to interact on some level. What would you suggest to